iCUE, and this is my build update video. So about a month ago, probably a month and a bit now, I built this PC. It was sponsored by Corsair, Asus, and also by Philips as well. And I built this PC sort of live stream style, I guess, and it was a humongous 2.5 hour long video. Go watch it if you haven't, and then this video will make more sense. And I would just like to say a huge thank you to everyone that did watch it, because I didn't think it would get so much sort of like praise. I'm really happy that it encouraged quite a few people to maybe build a computer themselves, because often when you see people like building a PC, all the mistakes and things that might happen are taken out, and I really wanted to show sort of like my experience of building it without too much editing. So I'm really happy that everyone enjoyed that. And basically this video is going to be sort of a month on what sort of changes I've made and how I found using the computer. So at the end of my build video, I sort of asked everyone for some like name suggestions, because I really like naming my computers. I don't know why, it just sort of gives them a bit of like personality, I guess. But I've looked through the names. There were some really good suggestions actually. I really liked one was Ice Maiden. There was one that was Snow White that I thought was really nice as well. But I actually saw someone say like Aurora Borealis, so obviously like the Northern Lights. And I wanted something like sort of like short and sweet, so I've actually decided to call this computer Aurora. Probably not the most imaginative or original name, I guess, but I like it. I think it matches the computer nicely. And of course it is a she. My previous computer was a he. I don't know if that makes much difference. But yeah, I'm really happy with the name. Thank you for everyone's suggestions. So the changes that I've made, I've put in my hard drives that I had from my other computer. So I've got my 1TB hard drive in the back now, and also a 500GB Samsung 850 EVO SSD to go alongside the MP500 from Corsair, which is obviously my C drive with my OS on. And in order to get those in, I did have to sort of change the cable management a bit to obviously put in, I had to put in some more SATA power cables, and obviously the actual like SATA data cables as well, and just configure a few cables so I could get them in there. But it looks pretty good. I think I didn't do too bad job with the cable management. One of the biggest updates that I've made is that I've now got a different graphics card. So before I had an RX 580, that was actually a really good card, but because I've now got a 4K monitor, it did struggle a little bit while I was gaming. I was sort of getting like 30 FPS while I was playing FarCry 5, and it's not too bad. I'm not someone that's like wants like 144 Hz. I actually prefer like having more pixels over more FPS, but I've now upgraded to a 1070 Ti, and basically it's the graphics card I've wanted for ages and ages, ever since it came out, because KFA2, I'm not sure if it's also called like Galax, I think, in America. They're the ones that make like the Hall of Fame cards, which I think are beautiful, because I love white computer components. But they did, I call it like an EX Sniper, but I think it's EX SMPR, white edition graphics card, and it was absolutely beautiful. It's got like RGB lighting on it as well. And they were out of stock for ages and ages, and obviously graphics cards have been really expensive. And one popped up on eBay like a week ago, so I instantly had to buy that for myself. So I've now got an 1080 Ti in my build, and it's much better at running games at 4K resolution. Obviously not as powerful as like a 1080 Ti, the 1070 not quite as crazy powerful, but it's a lot more affordable for me anyway. So I'm really happy with that. I'm now getting like 60 FPS because I've got a really sweet overclock on the graphics card, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. Is obviously I don't know if anyone watched it. If you've watched the video, if you haven't, go watch it if you're not sure about overclocking. But I went to Overclockers UK, and 8pack actually gave me an overclocking tutorial, the basics. I sort of knew the basics anyway, and I had tried to overclock my previous processor, which was an i7 4770K. Didn't go very well. That didn't really work out for me. It just crashed and I got scared, so I just set it back to default and left it alone for like 3 years. But now I've got this new processor, the i7-7700K. I went to Overclockers, we did a video together so I could sort of learn more about overclocking and so you guys could learn more about overclocking. I think it went really well. I felt like I learned quite a lot. So I came back home and I've been playing around and basically overclocked my CPU. And I'm pretty proud of what I got because I basically just looked up online to see what other people managed to do, so what voltages and what like core speeds people have done to see what was safe. And I basically tried to like replicate that myself. So I'm actually going to like restart my computer and see if we can go into the BIOS, and then I can show you what I've done, and then show like the difference in my Cinebench score as well. So let's just restart my PC. There it is. Steam was shut down. It's really quick now. Now I've got an M.2 SSD. Oh, I forgot to mention that I actually moved the M.2 into a different slot because I had put it into a slot that I think would make it slower. So it should now be running at the correct speed. Hopefully my computer is actually going to restart. It's not going to be very good. If not, I think it's coming back alive. Yeah, here we go. I've just got to wait for my keyboard to connect and then we can get in the BIOS. It's great that I've got this huge monitor as well because it's much easier for you guys to see. So I'll go on to advanced mode, and then on this motherboard it's quite different to the one that I learned with 8-pack, so I did have to look in the manual to sort of find where some things were, but it was AI tweaker, and then I obviously enabled XMP, and then I started playing around with the CPU core ratio. So I saw online that like what some people managed to get on this CPU was like 5 gigahertz. I was like, I want that. I'm gonna try to get that. But I have spent like so many hours trying to get it at that speed, and I don't think my CPU, I haven't won the silicone lottery basically, but I have managed to get it to 4.9, which I'm really proud of, and also the temperatures aren't too bad. I might actually go back to 4.8 because it does get quite hot under load, but it's stable. Mostly, I think I had one crash since I've been running at 4.9. I'm not sure, I think it was on startup, which was a bit weird, but I think that was also when I was playing with my graphics card, so it's probably the graphics card. Yeah, so I got it to 4.9. I'll go down to my voltages. So it's at 1.345. I did have it on 1.35, but I was just like, oh, I wonder if I can get the voltage down a bit, because obviously that helps the temperatures out. So yeah, it's 1.345. I did see some people, like the maximum I think for this CPU was that you can put it on 1.5, but people that like to get like a higher clock, but that's really not recommended unless you've like delidded it and you've got like a custom loop. And then I think the maximum people with like custom loops delidded, like most people were saying like 1.4. So I think maybe I could get this chip to 5 gigahertz, but I'm still like a complete noob really. I've only really tweaked those two things. I know there's like probably a load of different other options that could be tweaked to get the chip to 5 gigahertz, but I'm really happy with my 4.9. That's obviously quite a big increase over the 4.2. I think it boosts up to 4.4, but I'm really happy with the difference that I got. I also changed the cache speed. I'm not entirely sure what it is, because it this one I think. Oh no, this is where I did the load line calibration. So like 8-pack said in the video, like go one under the maximum. So I think that actually makes the CPU one at 1.36. So it is a little bit higher than what I've set in the BIOS. So I guess maybe that's why it's still working actually. I didn't realise I had it on 1.3. I forgot what I changed it to now. 1.2. Yeah, it basically runs at 1.36, I think. Yes. So maybe I've got the line calibration set a bit high, but it's stable, so I'm just going to leave it as it is, and it's not too hot. But But yeah, so I changed that. I think I set the cache speed is 4.2. I'm not entirely sure how I got to it, but I know it's set at 4.2 somewhere. Might be even on auto, actually. Yes, it's actually on auto at the moment, but it goes to 4.2 when I'm in Windows. So yeah, that's basically what I did. I spent ages playing around with it, like trying different voltages, trying to get it to 5, and also trying to get it at like the lowest voltage on 4.9, which I thought was actually lower, but it does run at 1.36 when it's in Windows, and it's stable, so I'm going to leave it for now. But yeah, I might end up putting it back down to 4.8 just so I can get the temperatures down a bit. But the PC case is actually, the fans and things are running quite quiet. I haven't got them on like running really fast, so I don't know, I want really good performance, but I also don't like having a really hot, loud PC, so it's trying to find the balance really. So I'm going to save changes and reset. I didn't make any changes. Yeah, I just wanted to show you what I did in the BIOS to get to that CPU clock speed. Basically, it took me ages. I think probably if you're someone that knows what you're doing, then overclocking is probably quite easy, but for me it was quite scary because I had a lot of blue screens, like so many blue screens, while I was trying to get it to 5 gigahertz. But I think I had quite a fun time. I'm really happy with the clock speed that I got, and in a minute I'll show you my Cinebench score, so you can see the difference of what score I got before I overclocked and the score that I get now I have it overclocked. I'm just waiting for my computer to boot to Windows. There we go, I think. Yes. Yeah, so I will actually open Cinebench and then we can just take a look at the score that I get now. That's my GPU overclocking software. I have to press yes every time on startup. And then hopefully the Corsair, oh no, it's doing this thing. Oh, there we go. The Corsair iCUE software, I don't know if anyone else has downloaded the new one that Corsair have done, but I do find that it's a little bit buggy sometimes. Like when I load into Windows, sometimes it just doesn't change any of the colours. It just sort of like flickers like rainbow, and sort of it is a bit awful. But apart from that, I really like the software. Yeah, so Cinebench. I have got, the maximum score that I've got with this clock is 1031, but I actually haven't been able to get back to that. I'm not entirely sure how it got that score in the first place, but before I did my overclock it was, oh no, I think I've lost it. I've actually lost the score. I think it was 8 something. I'm sure I saved it, but I must have overwritten it at some point. Yeah, it was definitely 8. It was just above the i7-4770K that's on here, that's like overclocked. So it was definitely 8 something. I basically got an increase of like 120 or 130. But I will run it just so we can see what score it gets now. But I like I said, I haven't seen it get close to that 1031. I'm not sure how I got that score, but it's been sitting around 900. But I basically got a pretty good increase in performance from like 800 to like nearly 1,000, so that's like over 10% increase. It's just doing its thing. Everything stays really quiet still. The temperatures, I've seen it get up to 89, I think, so that's why I'm thinking about clocking it back down to 4.8, just so when I'm rendering like a long video, I'm not worried about my computer getting really hot. There we go. Oh, it has actually got over 1,000 today, so 1,003. I think these are maybe other clocks that I tried. This one here might have been when I was at 4.8. But I know my default like 4.4 was like 800, something around that anyway. So I got a pretty good increase in performance. I'm really happy with that. I will now talk about my GPU overclock. So I'm going to open up the software. I use the software that came with it's the KFA2 software. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, Extreme Tuner Plus. I know a lot of people like to use like MSI Afterburner and stuff, but this is the one that I've gone for. I've actually got some notes because I can't remember the GPU overclocks off the top of my head. So to overclock the GPU, I basically put all the power targets up to maximum. I am like a complete, not a complete noob, I guess, but I didn't really know too much what I was doing. But I basically just had a go, and I'm really happy with what I got actually. So I've sort of compared it to what other people have got, and I got pretty close. So I'm not sure if my graphics card is like that good, because obviously it varies depending on the silicone lottery again, I guess. But the default clock speed on the graphics card is 1607, and I made an increase of 112 megahertz. So the maximum boost clock is now 1950. Some people are getting over like 2000. I think someone I spoke to got 2020 like on the stock air cooler. So obviously I haven't got that, but I think I got pretty close. There's something like 30 megahertz in it. The memory clock speed, the default is 8000, and I've managed to get it up to 8800. So that's I'm really happy with that. Obviously, I think if you really push the 1070 Ti, people can get it past like 9000, which is crazy. But I'm really happy with the clock speeds that I managed to achieve. So it's sort of given me like a 10% plus increase in performance. And I really noticed that in games because the first time I booted up FarCry 5, it was sort of struggling to get 60. But now since I've done the overclock on the graphics card, on high settings, I'm pretty much getting 60 FPS all the time. And obviously this is a 60 hertz monitor, it's 4K. So I'm actually really, really happy with the overclock. And also the graphics card runs quite cool as well. I think the maximum it got up to while I was gaming was like 71 or 72, so that's well within safe limits. I think the limits are like the power target, because I think the way that NVIDIA basically protected the 1080 was that they sort of limited how much power you could put through the 1070 Ti. So I do think that if that limit wasn't there, it would easily clock higher, but I haven't actually played with this voltage chart bit. I'm not entirely sure what it does, and I've left it alone for now. I've just used the power target that's on here because I think that must change the voltage. I'm not entirely sure how it works, to be honest. And to like stress test it while I was running the test, I use Unigine. And I ran that in the background with at 1080p resolution, so it was smaller on the monitor, and then put the software over the top, and then just like slowly increased. I started off with the memory clock, and I got it up to 500 without changing the like core speed. 520 completely crashed the computer, and it just died. So yeah, at 500, but then you have to, if you increase the core speed, you have to turn the memory speed down, and then you just have to sort of like find a balance where it's stable. I have managed to get, I think I managed to get a 5-stroke score while it was unstable. That I actually got a pretty good score. I think it was, oh yeah, my before score, I'll actually open up 3D Mark so we can take a look. I've got it on Steam. Yeah, I got a pretty good increase in my 3D Mark score. I might actually run a benchmark now, so we can just, so I can show you the score that I got. Because I don't think I've done one since I've found a stable clock on the GPU and CPU together. That froze for a minute then, that scared me. I was like, maybe my clock isn't stable as I thought it was. Hopefully it'll load up in a minute. And I'll just see what my new result was. It is actually taking its time. I'm a bit worried maybe my overclocks aren't as stable as I thought they were. I've done testing, but they're quite recent still, so I've not probably tested it as much as I could have done. Oh, it's loading now. That's good anyway. Basically, my before score was 4,677, and we will now see what it's going to get. My unstable score was 5,218, which I got when the GPU clock was higher than it is now. But we'll just like run through it and see what I get now. Be quite interesting, really, what difference overclocking can make. I've definitely noticed it in the FPS of like playing FarCry. It's all I've really been playing at the moment, to be honest. I don't get that much free time to play games, believe it or not. I guess I do, but not as much as I like. I'm not sure if anyone gets as much free time as they like to play games. I forget how long these tests take, actually. I've probably watched the same benchmark like hundreds of times. I don't even know, like, so much. I basically absolutely love 4K though. I've really enjoyed using this monitor. It's like 40 inches, so it's huge, and at first I was just like, what, this is way too big. But I've actually really enjoyed using it. Gaming, it definitely took a little bit getting used to. But for video editing and photo editing for me, it's been absolutely amazing because I was recording in 4K and I've been editing, like my first videos I did, I was editing in 1080p. So obviously I couldn't really see properly what was going on, but now I can. So it's really good, and it's really great for photo editing on because you can like have Photoshop open and the photos like big that I can see everything, but also there's plenty of space still for all the toolbars. That's the words I'm looking for. So I've definitely really enjoyed using the monitor, and I think I'm really hoping that this year, maybe next year, 4K is going to become like the normal for everyone, because at the moment the graphics cards I think are definitely behind like where monitors are. Like 4K is becoming much more affordable. I think you can get one for like £300 now if you're not worried too much about like IPS and stuff like that, and like color accuracy and things. You can get a pretty cheap 4K monitor. So they are definitely becoming more affordable, but the graphics cards, you need to run them, are obviously still like ridiculous prices. I'm hoping like when we get the next gen stuff come out that it's going to be much more affordable. Okay, so my score 5,076, and before, what did I say it was? Like 4,677. So that is a pretty good increase. There's like quite cool monitoring actually that 3D Mark has. Oh, I've blown it up and I didn't increase the size of stuff at all. So my GPU got up to 70, and my CPU got up to, go back to that, 80. So that's actually quite good. I'm really happy with that. The temperatures aren't too high, and the score is great. So overclocking has paid off. Thank you so much, 8Pack. He definitely gave me the confidence to work through all the crashes and things that I've experienced. I'm really happy that I've got some good performance coming out of this computer now. And I would just say to everyone that's scared to overclock, just don't worry. Just like have a look up online, see what voltages are safe, see what other people are getting. Watch videos, like watch the 8Pack video, and just see what other people are doing, and it's definitely not that scary. I found the GPU overclocking I definitely found easier than the CPU. That took me a lot less time because you're not constantly turning the computer off and on, off and on, off and on. If it crashes, while I was GPU overclocking, I actually found that it often recovered itself. It would just close Unigen, it would just crash it, and then I could just sort of like set the clocks back and then restart it again. The CPU overclocking was just like a lot of blue screens. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this computer is performing. The 4K, I think I definitely want it to become the norm in the future because I think it looks really, really awesome. I'll talk about the like the case and stuff as well. So it's the Corsair RX 5, oh god, I forgot the name. Corsair 570X. I don't know why I said RX. Corsair 570X PC case, and I do really like it. I've cleaned the dust filters once on it now, so it does a really good job of keeping all the dust out. I really like it. It's really easy to get to. Everything stays nice and cool. The fans, I think, are absolutely beautiful. I'll actually open the Corsair software up now because they've brought out a new, it's the iCUE software, so it works with FarCry. Here we go, an advert at the bottom there. So obviously I love like FarCry 5 so much. I've just been playing it every chance I get, really. And it makes my computer look so cool because everything like turns like American, and then like when you go into like certain areas and stuff where the scenery is like really beautiful, the keyboard's kind of like green and the computer's like blue, like the sky. It's really nice. I like what they've done with it. And also like when you complete a mission as well, the whole thing just like starts flashing. So it's a really cool feature. Hopefully they're going to do it for like more games. The only thing is with the iCUE software, I have noticed, I think it's still in beta, so it does have a few bugs and it does like crash sometimes on startup, I've noticed. Like I said, I was a bit worried it was going to crash when I restarted my computer. But hopefully Corsair are working on it. But I think the software itself is really good because it integrates like the fans with the peripherals, so you can actually have like instant lighting across everything, which is quite cool. But I quite like setting my own effects, so that's what I've done on everything. But it's definitely much easier because they used to have the CUE software and they used to have the Link software, and that was a little bit more awkward. But I'm really glad they've put it all into the like CUE engine because it's probably one of like my favourite softwares that I've come across for like peripherals and stuff is the Corsair one, just because you've got like so much control over everything. Yeah, everything just looks so pretty. I think that's basically everything that I wanted to talk about. Yeah. Oh, I think I've covered everything. If you've got any questions and you want to ask me anything in the comments, I think this is a good opportunity. I've never really... Most of my videos are quite sort of like, this is a review of a product. And I'd like to like talk to people. I think we want to try to do some more like chill videos on Kit Guru, so let us know what you think of this video, whether you liked it, whether you like me just sort of like chatting on about stuff. And like if you're gonna think about maybe overclocking yourself, and also whether you'd like to see like more of this type of video in the future. I think my build goals for the future, I'll do this at the end. I want to get some cable combs because my cables are not perfect. I don't like the black cable combs, and when I changed to my new graphics card, I'm sure it came with 6-pin combs, but I couldn't find them anywhere, so I've just taken all the PCIe cable combs off, so it does look a little bit messy, but I want to get some cable combs. And also I want to get a cover for the end of the power supply shroud. Corsair do sell them for this case, but they're like constantly out of stock, at least in the UK anyway. So I'm like waiting for that to come back so I can get one. But I'm really happy with this build. I'm really excited to see what's going to come this year, new. What's going to happen with like new graphics cards and stuff, whether 4K is going to become like the norm for everyone. I probably wouldn't have 4K right now unless I needed it for like video editing, but I really want it to become the norm for gaming because it just looks awesome. Like watching movies and stuff is really cool, and gaming as well. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I will shut up now. I've been talking for ages. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from Kit Guru in the future, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And there is also a little bell icon as well, so you can get notifications.